Lindsey Keller with Seven Springs Real Estate. Today we're going to talk about reasons not to move to Kyle, Texas. First reason you might not want to move to Kyle is because of traffic. A lot of people that move to Kyle are planning to work in either San Marcos, which is just south of Kyle, or in Austin. Kyle's a southern suburb of Austin, but it's actually closer to San Marcos, which is where Texas State University is. So it's one of those communities that kind of feeds a lot of different places, and there are a lot of commuters that live here. If you are planning to do that, traffic getting out of here in the mornings can be really, really bad both directions. 35 seems like it's always under construction. There's always accidents, and it can just take a really long time to get either place. But if you're on the west side, there actually are back roads into both cities. You can take 1626 around and hit 45, and then use that to hit Route 1 to get into Austin. Route 1 is also called Mopac, and it's our north-south highway that's west of town. And there are also back roads to get into San Marcos. It takes a lot longer, but if 35 is as bad as it gets sometimes, it can be quicker to take the back roads on the west side. If you live on the east side, there are some back roads to get into San Marcos. Getting into Austin, though, from the east side, you're going to have to come back to 35. So even if you want to get on the toll road that heads on the east side of Austin, you've got to get to 35 in order to get to that toll road. So something to keep in mind if you're thinking about moving here. On the other hand, the mayor of Kyle has been very focused on creating a culture of people that live and work in Kyle. There's a ton of new business opening here. We're actually sitting outside of Torchy's, which is a big deal when it opened in Kyle. So there's a Torchy's here. There's a ton of new restaurants. There's a Costco. We're actually across from Costco now. An Academy, a sporting goods store is opened, Hobby Lobby. There's a Home Goods coming. There's a bowling alley and movie theater. So there's a lot going on that's just right here that doesn't require going everywhere. An ACC campus for community college. There's always something else popping up. So the intention is to create jobs here so that people who live here can also work in Kyle. So I think it's a really smart place to invest and just wait for all the business and commerce that's required to support this population to start booming. Another reason you might not want to move to Kyle is the schools. The schools have gotten pretty crowded as families have moved out of Austin into Buda and Kyle, which is Hayes ISD. The schools have gotten tons of kids in them. So that can mean larger class sizes. It can just mean like it's more difficult to manage that number of kids. However, Hayes ISD has done a really good job, in my opinion, of trying to stay ahead of that population growth. And seriously, every year they're opening a new campus, whether it's elementary or middle school or even another high school. So I feel like all things considered, the district is doing the best job they can to stay ahead of that. Of course, every district is going to be spotty, so you've got to go online and look at different ratings for different schools, because some schools are fantastic, others not so good. Always good to talk to people who have had their kids in the schools as well. But overall, Hayes ISD does have a very favorable rating online. Another reason to consider not moving to Kyle is the heat. The heat is a serious factor of life in Kyle, Texas. So we're talking like late spring, May, June, all the way well into October. It could hit 100 degrees for days and days on end. In fact, this past year, I think we had like 80 something days over 100 degrees. So if you've got kids, that means that they might end up on their screens inside for long periods of time because they're like, Mom, it's too hot to go outside. It's just so hot. And you're like, I know, you're right. It's hot. If I could walk outside and put a for sale sign in somebody's yard, I have to go in and take a shower. It's horrifically hot. But the good thing is that in Texas, we know how to deal with that kind of heat. And so we have created all kinds of swimming holes and places to cool off. Just like this, we're under this like shaded patio, and there are huge fans, cold drinks. So there's a ton of places to swim with your kids. Every place is air conditioned, and we eat a ton of ice cream, honestly. So the heat is a rough part. But the flip side of that is that from November to May, it is glorious in this part of the state. So we have wildflowers blooming everywhere. We get, I feel like the leaves are off the trees for like a month. Like around Christmas, they start to turn colors a little bit in fall, and then they're back by like February, and we're all like, oh, thank goodness winter's over. It's so nice to be able to go outside barefoot again. So the moderate winters are a huge plus, and you can really enjoy being outside during those months. Another reason not to move to Kyle, Texas is that it's suburbia. So take that for what it's worth. It's not the city. There's not a million events happening all the time. But there is stuff to do for families. There are a lot of parks and park events in Kyle. There's a growing trail system for mountain biking and hiking through the trails, and a group of people that's very dedicated to working on that. Kyle Hockey is here, which is one of our favorite nonprofit organizations. People come from everywhere to play competitive roller hockey in Kyle. It's also very close to San Marcos, which is where Texas State is. So you've got sports and speakers coming in there. Actually, one of the presidential debates for 2024 is going to be at Texas State University. The river flows through San Marcos, so you've got this whole river culture. It's pretty easy to go down there and jump into an inner tube in the spring and summer, or even into the fall. Float down the river is a great way to spend an afternoon. And even a trip down to New Braunfels or San Antonio is really not a bad trip. So there's just a lot of things that you can do from Kyle. So all things considered, Kyle really isn't a bad place to live. If you have any questions about this community, about schools, businesses coming in, or anything else, I would love to help you. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thank you for watching.